Before we dive into this one, hit that subscribe button if you crave the truth behind the darkest mysteries, because tonight's case will make you question everything you think you know about memory, love, and lies. On the evening of September 18th, 2014, a small lakeside town in Vermont fell into chaos. The night had started calm, a thin mist rolling off Lake Hollow, when a frantic call shattered the silence. A man's voice, shaky and breathless, echoed through the police dispatcher's headphones. "My girlfriend's gone. The door's open. There's blood. Please, you have to hurry." That man was Daniel Reese, a 27-year-old mechanic. His girlfriend, Emma Collins, a 25-year-old kindergarten teacher, had vanished from their rented home. Police arrived within 10 minutes. The scene didn't look like a burglary. It looked personal. A broken lamp lay near the couch, and a half-empty glass of wine still sat on the counter. But what caught Detective Harper's attention was the blood trail, just a few drops, leading from the living room to the back door, where it stopped abruptly. There were no footprints outside, no signs of a struggle beyond that one broken lamp. And strangest of all, Emma's car keys, phone, and purse were still there. She didn't leave, Harper muttered to his partner. Someone took her. In the days that followed, the entire town turned into a search grid. Volunteers combed the woods, divers scoured the lake, and helicopters swept over the winding forest roads. Nothing. No body. No tracks. No ransom. Emma Collins had simply disappeared. Daniel Reese became both the grieving boyfriend and the prime suspect. Detectives found inconsistencies in his statement. He said he'd returned from a late shift around 11:30 p.m., but neighbors heard his car pull up closer to 12:10. When asked about the 30-minute gap, Daniel froze. I don't remember. I must have just driven around to clear my head." Police didn't buy it, but with no body, no weapon, and no clear motive, they couldn't arrest him. Weeks passed, then months. The town slowly moved on, until the package arrived. On a snowy January morning, Detective Harper received a brown envelope with no return address. Inside was a small, leather-bound diary. It was soaked in lake water, the pages warped and yellowed. But the name etched on the inside cover was clear: Emma Collins. The first entries were innocent, notes about her students, her morning jogs, dinner plans with Daniel. But as the pages went on, the tone shifted. "I think Daniel's been lying to me. He goes out late, says it's work, but comes home smelling like perfume. I found something in the trunk of his car today. A photo of a woman I don't know." The last entry was dated September 17th, 2014, the night before she vanished. He said, "We need to talk tomorrow. I'm scared of what he'll say. I think I'll record it, just in case." The handwriting stopped mid-sentence, as if she'd been interrupted. That entry reignited the entire case. Police obtained a warrant to search Daniel's car again, this time focusing on hidden compartments and lining. What they found stunned them: a small digital recorder wedged under the passenger seat. When they played it back, the static was overwhelming, but a few words cut through. Emma's voice: "You said you'd tell me the truth tonight." Daniel's voice: "I didn't want it to happen like this." A loud crash followed, then silence. Forensics confirmed the recorder had been submerged in water before being hidden. But what water? The lake. That night, detectives drained part of Lake Hollow's shallow edge where divers had found nothing before. And this time, under the beam of a flashlight, something glimmered in the mud. A necklace. Gold chain. Heart-shaped pendant. Inside was a small photograph. Emma and Daniel, smiling. But behind that photo was another, a photo of Daniel with a different woman. When detectives showed the picture to locals, one woman gasped. "That's Lily Greene. She used to date Daniel. She went missing in 2011. The case had just turned into something far bigger. Two women connected to the same man, both vanished years apart. Detective Harper drove straight to Daniel's house. But when they arrived, the front door was wide open, the house empty. Daniel Reese was gone. On the kitchen counter, a folded note waited. "You're looking in the wrong place." Underneath it, a single item sat wrapped in a wet towel, another diary. This one wasn't Emma's. The name on the first page read, Lily Greene. And what was written inside would change everything the detectives thought they knew. The second diary, Lily Greene's, was older, its pages stained and brittle, the handwriting jagged and uneven. The first few entries were ordinary. Dates with Daniel, their plans to move in together, and her dream of opening a bakery in town. But then, midway through, the tone shifted. He's not the man I thought he was. He hides things. I found a lockbox in his garage. He said it's just tools, but tools don't need a blood-stained rag. Last night, I followed him to the lake. Detective Harper read those words 3 times. Lily had vanished in 2011, 3 years before Emma, and she had followed Daniel Reese to Lake Hollow, the same lake where Emma's necklace was found. The diary continued. He met someone there, a man in a dark coat. They argued. I couldn't hear much, but I saw him hand over an envelope. Then he looked right at me. I ran. The final entry was short. Just 1 sentence. If anything happens to me, it's because of what I saw. It was dated August 3rd, 2011, the last day anyone saw Lily alive. Detective Harper knew what this meant. Daniel Reese wasn't just a person of interest anymore. He was the link between 2 disappearances, and possibly 2 murders. But when Harper submitted the diary for forensic testing, something strange happened. Within 24 hours, the file was flagged and sealed under federal authority. The message came directly from the FBI office in Burlington. No explanation. No access. Then, the next morning, a black SUV parked across from the precinct. A man in a suit stepped out and handed Harper an envelope. Inside was a single sentence typed in bold font. Stop digging. You're not cleared for this investigation. Harper had seen intimidation tactics before, but this felt different. This wasn't protection of jurisdiction. It was a warning. He quietly made copies of everything before the FBI could confiscate the evidence. And that's when he noticed something he'd missed before. The diary wasn't Lily's handwriting in every entry. The final 2 pages, the ones detailing the lake and the envelope exchange, were written in a slightly different style. Similar, but not exact. It was almost as if someone had tried to mimic her handwriting. Whoever planted this diary wanted Daniel to look guilty, but why? Harper's next step was to re-examine Daniel's background. He learned Daniel had left town for 6 months in 2012, claiming to be working out of state. But payroll record from his job showed no such absence. Instead, there were multiple deposits from a company called Hollow Point Security Solutions, a private contractor tied to government cleanup projects around the lake. The company had gone bankrupt a year later, but Harper found something that made his blood run cold. Lily Greene's brother, Tom Greene, had worked for the same company, and he had died in a boating accident on Lake Hollow just weeks after Lily disappeared. Harper drove out to the Greene family farmhouse, now abandoned and overgrown. Inside, dust coated the furniture, and mold crept up the wallpaper. In the corner of the living room, a locked cabinet caught his eye. The key was still in it. Inside was a VHS tape labeled "For the Police, 2011. He played on an old TV. The screen flickered, showing shaky footage of the lake at night. A flashlight beam swayed across the water. Then, 2 figures appeared. One was Daniel Reese. The other wore a black coat. Their voices were muffled by wind, but a few words carried through the static. Daniel, you said no one would get hurt. Unknown man, that's not your call anymore. You did your part. Daniel, what about her? She saw me. Unknown man. Then she doesn't leave the lake. The camera jerked violently, falling into the grass. The final frame was of the water, rippling, then still. Harper sat frozen. If the footage was real, it meant Daniel wasn't acting alone. He was part of something organized, and Lily had stumbled into it. But when Harper turned the tape over, he saw something scrawled in black marker on the bottom. File number 47, Lake Hollow Operation. That same evening, Harper's office was broken into. The tapes were gone. The diaries were gone. Every file related to Emma and Lily gone. The only thing left on his desk was a folded note. You were warned. And underneath, a small key taped to the paper, engraved with the number 47. Harper didn't sleep that night. He sat alone in his car, staring at the lake where 2 women had vanished, holding that key in his hand. What did it open? A locker? A lockbox? Or something else entirely? Before dawn, he decided to find out. He followed the coordinates from an old map of the Hollow Point compound, an area long abandoned after the company's collapse. When he arrived, the gates were rusted and the sign half buried in weeds. But inside one of the storage sheds, behind stacks of corroded metal drums, Harper found a locked steel cabinet marked with a faded stencil, 47. The key fit perfectly. He turned it. The lock clicked open, and what he found inside changed everything they thought they knew about Emma's disappearance, Lily's death, and Daniel's guilt. Detective Harper's flashlight beam cut through the darkness of the abandoned compound. The air inside the shed was thick with the smell of rust and oil. The walls lined with crates marked Hollow Point Security Solutions, confidential. He pulled the metal door of cabinet 47 open, his hands trembling. Inside were 2 dusty files, a sealed envelope, and an old hard drive. Each item was labeled with the same chilling code. Project Hollow Veil. He opened the first file. It contained incident reports, photos of missing people, including Lily Greene and Emma Holloway, alongside several others who had disappeared over the span of a decade. Each page was stamped "Unconfirmed Casualty Contained." Contained. The word didn't belong in any criminal file. It sounded like something out of a classified operation. The second folder held payment records, large wire transfers to offshore accounts, including one under the name Daniel Reese. But there was another name, one Harper didn't recognize until he saw the signature at the bottom. Chief Investigator Miles Harper. His own name. His own signature. He froze. That couldn't be possible. The date on the document was June 2011, 3 months before Lily disappeared. Harper had never seen this before. He'd never worked with Hollow Point, but the document said otherwise. His stomach turned as he realized the implication. Someone had forged his name to bury the case. Someone inside law enforcement. He tore open the envelope. Inside were photos, grainy surveillance shots of Lily and Daniel at a gas station, a week before she vanished. In the background, a black SUV was parked by the exit. The license plate matched a government vehicle, registered to FBI agent Nathan Cole, the same man who warned Harper to stop digging. As Harper processed what he'd uncovered, headlights cut across the compound. A vehicle was approaching fast. He grabbed the files, stuffed them into his bag, and ducked behind the crates. The car door slammed. 2 men stepped out, silhouetted by the headlights. One voice was unmistakable. "Agent Cole, check the shed. If he's here, he's finished." Harper held his breath as the beam of a flashlight swept across the room. His pulse thundered. Every instinct screamed to run, but the sound of boots on gravel told him they were close, seconds away. He slipped behind the back exit, quietly lifting the latch and stepping into the cold night. The rain had started again, masking his footsteps. He ran toward the lake, his bag clutched tight, heart pounding. Behind him a shout, then gunshots. Bullets struck the metal drums, sending sparks across the dark. He dove into the reeds by the shoreline, crawling until he reached the old dock. He knew the terrain well enough to navigate blind. Under the dock, he found what he'd seen in the video, an old rusted lockbox half buried in mud. He used the same key, the one labeled 47, and opened it. Inside, there was a single cassette tape marked "Final Statement, Lily Greene." Harper's hands shook as he played it on a recorder later that night, safe inside his car parked miles from the lake. The tape crackled, then Lily's trembling voice came through. "If you're hearing this, I didn't make it. Daniel was never the one in charge. He was scared. He was forced. The men at Hollow Point, they used us. They paid him to transport something for them. Files, evidence, things they didn't want public. When I found out, they made me disappear. But it wasn't Daniel who did it. He tried to save me. He told me to run. The one behind it is Agent Nathan Cole. He called it Project Hollow Veil. It's about covering up deaths from an illegal dumping operation at Lake Hollow. Toxic waste. The company paid off local law enforcement. People got sick. Some died. They buried everything, including the truth." Her final words were barely a whisper. "If you find this, don't let them bury me again." The tape ended. Harper sat in silence, rain pattering against the windshield. It all made sense now. The cover-up, the intimidation, the falsified documents. The disappearances weren't random. The women had stumbled upon evidence of a massive crime hidden beneath the lake. And Daniel Reese, he wasn't a monster. He was another victim. But by the time Harper returned to the precinct the next morning, the fallout had already begun. The FBI had seized his office, citing ongoing federal investigations. Harper was suspended without pay. When he demanded answers, Agent Cole simply smiled and said, "You should have stayed in your lane." That evening, Harper released everything: the diary pages, the audio, the files, to an independent journalist. Within 48 hours, the story exploded nationwide. But before the broadcast aired, Harper's car was found abandoned near Lake Hollow. The doors were unlocked, the keys still in the ignition. No sign of Harper. Months later, construction crews drained part of Lake Hollow for a new development. At the bottom, they found a rusted container stamped with the Hollow Point logo. Inside were dozens of sealed files and a single body, confirmed through dental records to be Lily Greene. Next to her remains, divers discovered a metal tag inscribed with 2 words: Hollow Vale. Daniel Reese's name was cleared posthumously. Agent Nathan Cole resigned quietly, never charged. The Hollow Point files vanished from evidence storage 2 weeks later. And then, just as the public outrage began to fade, a video appeared online, posted from an anonymous account. It was Detective Harper sitting in a dim room. He looked exhausted, unshaven, but alive. "They buried the truth once," he said. "They won't do it again. There's more. So much more beneath that lake." The video cut to black, and in the final seconds, a single image appeared: a map of Lake Hollow, with one location circled in red. File number 48. If you think this story was intense, you're not ready for what's coming next. Hit subscribe, because the next case might just change everything.